Hey guys, welcome back to another honest review. Today we are actually taking a look back at a retired set. It is the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle. It is set number 75314. It is recommended for ages 9 and up. Came with 969 pieces, and back in 2021 this did retail for $100. And adjusted for inflation, that's about 120. And this is also one of the few sets that is based off the Bad Batch TV show from the Star Wars brand. But without further ado, let's start deconstructing the set and seeing how it holds up after a couple years of retirement. Starting as always with the minifigure. The first figure of this set we're going to talk about is Hunter. He came with 2 knives as accessories. They actually tell you to take both knives off the sprue and give it to him. Usually it's only one. Talking about the design of this figure, it is pre-2022 helmet hole debacle, so it is the older mold that doesn't have those helmet holes, which is a little bit better. That does have a nice print on it, reflecting his helmet in the universe there. Really nicely designed, molded in that gunmetal gray color that carries on to the torso and the legs. They're all the same color there. A really nice print here reflecting his armor in the show. Flipping him around to the back, you do have some nice back torso printing with his backpack there printed on. Kind of wish that was actual piece considering how large they are in the show. And added feature here, taking his helmet off, you can see he's got some nice face print recreating his look in the show. With that, you also have an alternate face, and like all the clones, it was printed on this newer skin tone, better reflect the characters in universe. But the major added bonus here is he does have an alternate hairpiece that you can give him, just pose your figures. I really appreciate that. They didn't have to, but glad they did. And flipping around so you can see that's what the alternate face looks like, highlighted by that hair. Next up, we're going to talk about tech. For accessories, he does come with a couple of pistols here. That's that standard cartoony Uzi style that Lego does use from time to time. Talking about the actual figure here, however, he's got a nice helmet mold, recreating his helmet in the actual show here. Unfortunately, the visor doesn't flip down, but that's a compromise they had to make. If you're wondering, they did admit that the coloring's off on this guy. He should be a white, but when they were looking at concept art, they looked at this particular skull on the side of his helmet, and they thought that the white of the skull here was a different color than the white of his outfit. So that's how they arrived there. But looking at the actual torso print, that is pretty nice, pretty reflective of what he wears for armor in the show for at least the first season. That carries down onto the legs there, and you do have the straps that go to his side pouches. However, you do not have any side leg printing to reflect that. And flipping around here, you have an actual backpack here, like the other clones in the set should have had, but they just don't. I think that's just because they needed to have the antenna he has in the show here on the back. That's probably the only reason why it's there. But taking the helmet and the backpack off, we can get a better look at the head here. It's very nicely printed with his goggles, nice kind of anger expression. And you, like Hunter, you also get alternate hairpiece for him, so you can have him without his helmet and he doesn't look awkward. It's just that standard Doctor Who Peter Venkman hair, molded in a brown color there. Flipping around to the back, you can see nice back torso printing as well. Recreates it pretty nicely. And flipping that hair around, he actually does have an alternate head without his goggles on, which is a really nice detail included there. And just so you can see, that's what that face looks like with the helmet on. So taking a look at Wrecker, he does have a Alien Conquest pistol as his accessory. That is pretty nice. For his helmet, it's actually different because his helmet is differently shaped in the show. They use the Iron Man second generation helmet here, molded it in a gunmetal color, and they just print the details of his helmet on. However, the white is not as opaque as it's advertised on the box. Just a little miss there. He does have this new shoulder piece that was introduced for him in 2021 here. It's been used for a couple character stunts, but it just adds a little bit of bulk to the character. Really gives Wrecker his bulk here. You have some nice printing for Clone Force 99, the skull logo on each side of the arm here, and you do have a nice printing of his armor there on the front. Flipping around the back, you do have those open studs there, nothing attached to them. You can see a little bit of the torso print under. And taking the helmet and shoulder piece off, you can see he's got a nice facial expression. It's only printed on one side just because the character is bald, and they just give one expression here. It does reflect Wrecker pretty well, so I'm pretty happy about it. You do have scarring, you do have the one whited out eye that all looks really good. You have some nice torso printing as well. Most of it's the same printing that's on the shoulder piece here. It's just reflected down here at the bottom, and you do have the other details carrying down onto the legs. Then flipping around to the back here, you do have his backpack printed on his torso. Again, I think this was a miss. You could have easily attached it to this armor piece. This is just on here to just give him the height he needs and the bulk, but you could have really printed that backpack on. Next, we're going to talk about Echo. Knocking out his accessory first, he just comes with that standard small Star Wars pistol here. He actually does, as you can see, have some side arm printing and a regular hand. That is just due to concept art. Hot Toys and Hasbro also had this, though they kind of eliminated theirs as they worked through their product line. Lego, on the other hand, had to stick with it, but the concept art showed that Echo would get kind of a robotic hand that could kind of interchange. So that's kind of what Lego has reflected here with the printing, with the miscolored arm and whatnot. And you can see a nice printing for his armor there as well. That kind of also makes this arm feel a little bit bare, but it is what it is. As you can see, same gunmetal color as the rest of the Bad Batch, aside from tech. You have some nice printing on that helmet there, really nicely reflected of how his helmet looks. Except for it's not the right shape, but Lego just likes to reuse parts here just to save a little bit of money and not create so many unique molds. You have some nice torso printing for his armor there, nice torso printing for the legs as well. Unfortunately, you do have his comma just printed on the front of legs here, and they don't carry around or anything. Really would have liked to have seen cloth here, but that's been a recurring issue for a couple years now. And then taking his helmet off, you can see he's got a nice facial facial print here with some of his cybernetics here, and that does carry around to the back of the figure as well, where you can see his backpack, which again should have been a separate piece, the back of his cybernetics, and the skin tone is also actually accurate to the universe here. His skin did get bleached from what he had to go through. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, but Echo is a pretty unique and interesting character. And last up we get Crosshair, but not in his Bad Batch uniform like his brothers. He's in his Imperial garb here. But talking about his accessory, he does come with the long rifle version of the Star Wars blaster here. Talking about the actual figure, he does have the Clone Trooper helmet molded in black with some nice printing, some green eyes, kind of reminds me of the Death Troopers from Rogue One there. You have some nice torso printing on there, reflecting his armor, a little bit of nice utility belt carrying down to the legs for all the armor and the padding. Flipping around to the back here, he does have some nice back torso printing of some of his details of his marksman reflectors. His backpack again should have been a separate piece there. Taking that helmet off, he does have a normal head here, printed with his unique crosshair over his one eye. He does not come with an alternate hairpiece, and originally I thought that was kind of Lego being cheap, but if you actually watch the Bad Batch, there's a reason why he's bald, and it's actually really nice. I really like that. So again, I would have preferred him being in his Bad Batch armor, just so we could complete the entire team here, but maybe Lego didn't get that reference material, maybe they did, who knows. And last up for figures, they count the Gonk droid as an actual figure. In the universe it's Gonky here, so it's just a standard Gonk droid, and it's a pretty simple, straightforward build, and it's just okay, and it's nothing to write home about. But yeah, they do count this as an actual minifigure character. Take a look at the set all built up. You do get the Havoc Marauder as the main build, but you also get two speeders as some side builds here. Talking about the build experience, it was split across 7 bags, and it was pretty enjoyable build. There's a lot of technique here for the type of ship that the Havoc Marauder is, especially for the wing function, which we'll get into in a minute. But first we're going to take a look at this smaller speeders included. So taking a look at the smaller of the two speeders, this is actually in the show. It's taken from the episode in season 1 where Omega's kidnapped by Fennec Shand and they have to rescue them back. Hunter rides this, so it's very nicely designed. The two decorations that you see on there are stickers, unfortunately, and of course the stickers are very discolored from the actual plastic, but it's very nicely built up. I really like the part usage here. These nice little side things that I think are cannons, but they don't actually fire here on the actual thing. You do have a clip back here for an accessory, and then you do have the friend's handlebar actually used to represent the handlebars for this speeder here. And as you can see, minifigure fits on there fine. It's just because that handlebar piece was made for mini dolls and not minifigures to hold. You can actually get both hands clipped onto the handlebar there. That's just, you can approximate it, but you can't fully get it on there. And then, of course, like I said, you do get a clip for storage for a minifigure's weapon here. That is really great. I always appreciate when they do that. Give a little clip for storage so kids don't lose them. Look at the Imperial Bark Spear next. This is pretty similar to Bark Spears like it was done before. It's just colored for Imperial use here with some grays, some blacks. You do get some nice dark blue in there mixed in for the seat. Very nice build. Again, it's very similar to actually a copy and paste job of Bark Spears like it was done in the past. Really nice shaping up front here for the little grill area. Of course, up front you do get a pair of stud shooters. They are the old style because this set came out in 2021. So they fire pretty much like the old ones did. You just hit the trigger. The red studs launch off pretty nicely, but putting a figure on here, it is pretty simple. You just take your crosshair minifigure. Crosshair just fits in there nicely like that. You can get both hands clipped onto the handlebars, just based off how they're designed. And then you do get these two clips on the back here for accessories. That's just because it's a copy paste job, but you can take crosshair sniper rifle and clip it on there for some storage. And bit of a con here, you do have 3 stickers on this back dorsal fin, and the coloring of the sticker, it's supposed to be the same gray as the plastic, and as you can see, it's more of a sand bluish like the Marauder than it's supposed to be the gray color. However, it's still a very nicely designed one. That's just due to, of course, because of copy paste job there. All right, so moving on to the main thing that you build, the main thing that you're paying for here, the model of the Havoc Marauder. Talking about the color scheme, because that was a bit of controversy when this set first came out. Lego decided to go with a sand blue and gray mix here. Looking at the show, there are certainly shots of in broad daylight where you can see that the Havoc Marauder is kind of this bluish gray color. So I really like the color choice Lego did here. Of course, as you can see, you do get a printed piece here on the front for the cockpit, a printed piece for the cockpit. However, you can't see through it. I would have preferred a trans color, but Lego can't really print this far down, especially for a trans color. So I can understand why they went for that. Still a bit of a miss here. Very nicely detailed around the sides here. I really like the part usage to create the shaping for the back of the ship. Of course, you do have stickers back here on the engine detail. The engine detail back here is pretty nicely done as well. You do have a bit of representation for the back guns on this thing. That is a really good attention to detail here. And then flipping this around to the bottom here, you do have some spring-loaded shooters here that just load up with some trans red bolts, and they just fire off. That's a very good play feature. Moving into the wing play feature, these do ratchet down. There's no mechanism for them to ratchet down simultaneously, so you kind of have to do it one by one. They've done it for multiple of the Imperial Shuttle, so that's fine for me. does elevate the play experience a little bit, but it does look very nice when it's done, but it does not support the weight, so you have to get a clear stand here for underneath the shuttle. Those wings do not support that weight. And the design on the top of the wings are very nicely done. You do have this sand blue stripe, very reflects the shuttle in the show. Accessing the interior is pretty easy. This entire top just rotates and flips open. We'll get into that in a minute. There's a big con with that. But going into greater detail here, take a look at the cockpit area. You do have these yellow pieces sticking out a little bit. That's just to get some snap techniques for the side here. But they do look nice for the interior build. You do have a printed piece for the control console. That is piece that's been featured a lot since 2017. It's not really new here, but you do get two seats here to put minifigures, and the way they're designed, they are built so you can fit characters like Tech and Wrecker up here in the front without their bulky backpacks not hindering them whatsoever from being placed here. So you can just take Tech here, and Tech will fit in just fine. Back seat here, you can't really fit Wrecker or anyone. You had to pick another figure that doesn't have a backpack, so we're going to take Echo there, and he fits just fine. And moving back to the living quarters area of the ship here, you do have a couple of stickers representing a couple of different posters that are seen in the actual Clone Wars show. They're against the wall here, but they kind of had to be on slopes just to fit them in. You do have this ratcheting area that is a storage area for weapons, so you get a clip on the front to put one weapon, and then you get this removable tray in here that can fit multiple weapons. So what I recommend and what I found out doing, what I found to do this is you put Echo, Tech, and Hunter's accessories in the bin, and it just slides back in there, and then you just put it back in there, clip Wrecker's blaster to the front there, and just close it back up, and it should fit pretty snugly. Might come up a little bit, but it should fit in there pretty nicely. So you got some nice weapon storage, which I really appreciate. And then you do have space to put two minifigures. They have to be sitting down, otherwise this thing won't close. So you can fit Hunter and Wrecker back here, or any figures if you want. You can also remove this whole storage weapons area and place a third figure in here. So if you have Omega from the Justifier set, she can fit in here too. And then Gonki doesn't fit anywhere in here. Even if you take that spot out, he still does not fit in, so that is a big miss there. Closing this back up, you do have this front part that hinges open. You can get your fingers in there, but best recommended to completely open the whole hatch here just to pose minifigures in there. Now we're going to talk about the actual handling. It's very swooshable, very fun to play with, very fun to swoosh it. You have to hold it from here, otherwise it's gonna bring me to the biggest con of this set. Some people, and pretty much most kids, would think to grab onto this dorsal fin as a handle just to play with the set, just to swoosh it from there. But yeah, this This doesn't latch. It has no real latching mechanism to it. It's supposed to catch on those two studs like right here and latch onto them, and it's not enough clutch power to hold this entire dorsal fin on. And yeah, that is a giant miss, and really bad oversight to the design of this whole thing for pretty nicely done set. I kind of wish we wouldn't have gotten the speeders in this set and they just focused on the Marauder. Maybe fix that up a bit, but let's move on to the box and whatnot, and I'll meet you back up for my final thoughts. So, looking at the extra pieces you would have gotten with this set, of course, it's above highly priced set. So you do get a brake separator, you do get a spare bolt for this spring-loaded shooter here. You do get a couple trans-red studs designated as extra ammo for the stud shooter on the bark spear, as well as an extra trigger. And then you just get basic tiles, technic pieces, bars, whatnot for your assortment for extra. About the instruction manual, we do get one big booklet here. This is pre-2022, so we do get the actual box art on the front cover here. Opening it up, you do have little thing letting the builder know to build one bag at a time. Otherwise the build might be frustrating for new builders. You do have an ad for the building app, how to use the brick separator. I'll let you know how much the build is separated into bags here. You do not have the progress bar. Again, this is pre-2022. And you do end with 197 pages for the building experience here. Back to the instruction manual, you do have a cross out for the summer 2021 wave here, which is really nice. And on the other side here, you do have a cross cell showing all the minifigures that were included in some of the sets that aren't even pictured over here. That's interesting. You do have a cross cell for the Skywalker Saga, which I don't think was actually released at the time of this. I think that got delayed a couple of years, but you do have the parts inventory, and you do have the product feedback win thing with the Clockwork Robot sporting it. Take a look at the box here. Ignore the damage to it. That's my own doing. That's not on Lego. But looking at the box, it's the same style we got from 2019 to the beginning of 2022, where it's the white background with various parts making it up. Up at the top you have the Star Wars logo. You do have the Bad Batch characters Legofied. I'll let you know that it's a Bad Batch related product. You do have a nice product shot of the set in action with tech on the actual speeder and crosshair chasing them, and it's against this kind of Tatooine looking planet. I don't recall that being an episode of the Bad Batch, but maybe Lego was working with something. I don't exactly know. You do have the minifigure call out on the bottom. Top of the box, you do have Hunter sporting the actual size reference, and then back of the box just shows you the various play features of the set in action, as well as showing you all the figures with their helmets off and the alternate hair pieces and whatnot. Going into my final thoughts, the build was pretty good. It was pretty enjoyable. It does have that big fatal flaw of the roof not staying on, especially if a kid wants to grab that handle, the dorsal fin, use it as a handle, and it just flies open. That's not very good to me. But the build otherwise is pretty good. Minifigures are a pretty good selection. You do get the entire Bad Batch. However, I really wish Crosshair was in his Bad Batch armor just to match the rest of his team. I get Lego probably had different reference material that they were working from. Maybe that's the only one they got for Crosshair, but they also appeared in the season 7 of the Clone Wars, so I don't know why Lego chose his Imperial armor. Again, maybe it's because of reference material they were working with, but that kind of makes it feel incomplete here. Quality wise, again, I pointed out the stickers not matching the color of the plastic they're supposed to be, looking much darker. That is pretty much prevalent on both speeders. In particular, the Havoc Mar certainly doesn't have that many stickers. It has like 5. And the print quality on Wrecker's helmets is also pretty lackluster. It's not the worst, but it's not the bright white you see advertised on the box. And then going into the value, we're going to do a little bit different here because we're talking about a retired set that's no longer in production. So we're going to talk about value in a different way. From what I've seen, this isn't really worth the $100 that they asked for back in the day. There was too many compromises. Should have gotten it on sale. If you did, great, but I really wish the speeders were scrapped and more attention was put into the Marauder. That being said, let's talk about how this thing is valued in the aftermarket, because the set was available on store shelves from its release date of August 2021 till the end of December 2022. So it had a year and just over a year on the shelves. Right after retirement, you could have pretty much bought this for its standard retail price, both new and used. Used was a little bit less, but as I'm recording this, season 3 is currently airing, and this set has seen significant spikes. I'm guessing that's just due to the final season here bringing interest into the ship. However, a slight spoiler for season 3, the Havoc Mara blows up much like the Razor Crest in Mandalorian season 2, so I don't see that much demand for it spiking, but it did go from its original price, gradually climbed from 122 to 140 to 144, where it's currently sitting at about 147. That's new, mint and boxed. Used, it started around its standard retail price and it's pretty much climbed up to $125 used. And the figures have created some value for themselves. So going into those, Hunter is worth, he was originally worth about $7 on the aftermarket for good used condition. He has since jumped up to $10. He's the cheapest of the actual minifigures here. I can think that he's available in one other set, the Justifier. So that's my reasoning for why he's so cheap here on the aftermarket, despite being the team leader. Tech there is the most expensive out of all these. He's about $32 in new good condition. I attribute that to his spoiler for season 2's finale, but the character is presumed dead, so I assume there was a spike when that character died, and people wanted to get the figure, so that's probably why he's so expensive for one figure. Echo is about $18, brand new condition. Wrecker hovers around the $25, so he's the second most expensive. Crosshair is actually also $20 range. I suspect that would be higher if he was actually in his Bad Batch armor, but he's not, so I can see that's why his value is a little bit less. And then the Gonk droid, that's the cheapest of the bunch. It's worth about $3 on the aftermarket, and that's pretty much just because it's a brick built character, and it's a brick built character, and none of the pieces are special or unique, so you can pretty much build it out of parts you already have, so that's probably why it's so cheap. And on the aftermarket, yeah, $140 is not that much raised here. So if you like the Bad Batch and you like the show, I highly encourage the pickup. I give this set about a 7 out of 10. Still very worth it. I highly doubt Lego's gonna make Bad Batch stuff again, especially the Marauder. So that kind of sucks. Again, considering we don't have Crosshair matching the rest of his brothers, again, 7 out of 10 for me. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this set. Did you pick it up back in 2021? Do you like the Bad Batch show? Were you surprised by the value? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring that bell so you're notified when I upload new content. Star Wars sets I tend to upload every Wednesday around 5 p.m. And thanks for sticking around and watching my honest takes on stuff. I will see you in the next video. Until next time, have a great day and keep building.